This magazine front cover highlights the buzz surrounding The Legend of Zelda 64, boasting everything you need to know about the biggest game ever, along with over 110 new screenshots. The issue also features an interview with Miyamoto discussing Nintendo's future. Recognizing its 5-year reign as the top Nintendo magazine, it dedicates a large section to the N64, promising extensive coverage of new games, with 60 pages on 64 and Game Boy releases and 58 pages of tips. Free gifts include a GoldenEye 007 Field Agent's Manual and Diddy Kong posters. The January issue, priced at £2.50, aimed to capitalize on post-Christmas sales. The cover, as expected, includes Mario. This page is a full-on advert for Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64, and it's got that classic over-the-top 90s vibe. They've got this battered helmet, see, like some kind of adventurer's headgear, and it's labeled up with all sorts of ridiculous things that have supposedly happened to it, like pterodactyl droppings and monkey brains, and even a fence post nail. Bit silly, but it grabs your attention. The ad copy goes on about how Diddy Kong Racing has no limits, you can race anywhere, land, sea or air, you name it. They're pushing the free-roaming adventure angle, saying you'll need guts, speed and savvy. It highlights 4-player action, 8 characters, and a whopping 30 tracks. Which back then, for a kart racer, was quite a lot to be fair. And they are really hyping up the Rumble Pack compatibility, telling you to slap in a Rumble Pack and feel every impact. Remember that thing? Vibration was proper groundbreaking back then. It's all very victory is out there, go get it, which is standard marketing spiel, but it does remind you of the excitement around the N64 at the time, especially off the back of the Zelda 64 buzz from the front cover. They're really ramming home the fastest, most powerful games console on Earth tagline too, because, well, marketing. Made by Rareware as well, so you knew it would be polished, even if it is a bit daft with talking animals in carts. Issue 64 of a 1998 Nintendo magazine showcases the N64's prime. It advertises a free GoldenEye 007 Field Agent's Manual, alongside major features on The Legend of Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, and upcoming games from Space World 97. The magazine boasts 30 pages of news, reviews and tips. Key sections include N64 news, teasing Super Mario RPG 2, N64 plays, covering soccer and puzzle games, and reviews of titles like FIFA 98, Bomberman 64, and Madden Football 64. A tips center offers advice for racing games. Other highlights include Diddy Kong Racing posters, a Pokémon Stadium preview, a look at Yoshi's story, and a mention of F-Zero X. The magazine captures the hype and style of the late 90s N64 era. This magazine page previews coverage of Space World 97, hyped as the greatest show on Earth. The issue features previews of upcoming N64 games. Highlights include Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, Yoshi's Story, 1080 Snowboarding, Paper Mario, F-Zero X, and both Pokémon Stadium and Pokémon Snap. The magazine also mentions lesser-known titles like Pikachu Genki Dechu and Mother 3, Earthbound 64. A photo showcases the crowded show floor with a Pikachu statue and the N64 with the 64DD disk drive. An article reveals the 64DD's delay, with software development cited as the issue. Despite the promise of user-generated content, the author expresses skepticism, alluding to the 64DD's ultimate failure. This magazine issue is celebrating Nintendo and its new hardware. The editor highlights excitement surrounding the 64DD, Pocket Camera, and upcoming games. A section discusses Pikachu Genki Dechu on the N64, a voice-activated game where players interact with Pikachu. The 64D, later the 64GB pack, is featured, showcasing its potential for Pokémon and Mario Artist, including Game Boy integration and 3D graphics. New Game Boy models are also mentioned, a purple Game Boy Pocket, and the Super Game Boy 2. The Pocket Camera and printer, allowing users to take and print black and white images from their Game Boys, are reviewed. Finally, there's a quiz section testing readers' Nintendo knowledge on topics like Zelda 64, Mario Artist, F-Zero X, and a Tamagotchi N64 game. This text previews The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, hailing it as potentially the greatest adventure of all time. The preview highlights impressive gameplay, including fiendish puzzles, intuitive controls, fluid animation, and breathtaking visuals that push the N64's limits. The game's vast world and engaging story, involving Link, Navi, Zelda's kidnapping, and encounters with stone golems and dragons, are briefly described. Miyamoto says, Box explains the game's delay from Christmas '97 to April '98 in Japan, emphasizing the time needed for such a large project. The text anticipates an epic experience with the game's massive 128 meg cartridge, promising a huge world to explore. This article previews The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, focusing on Navi and the game's features. Navi, Link's fairy companion, assists by pointing out clues and dangers in the vast Hyrule. The game will feature time travel, allowing players to switch between young and teenage Link, each with different abilities and equipment. Notable features include improved character animation, lighting, and a day/night cycle. Other highlights include ambient sounds, swimming, character reactions, and the ability to peek before jumping. Rumble Pack support is also confirmed. Penulsa screenshots hint at the story. Zelda's kidnapping, a horseback chase, and a confrontation with a Dark Knight, who is revealed to be Ganon. The game promises classic Zelda gameplay with familiar story elements and a focus on adventure. This text reviews Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, focusing on combat. It reminisces about the Space World 97 hype surrounding the game, mentioning the Ocarina's time travel abilities and Epona. The review breaks down combat mechanics, describing how holding Z locks onto enemies, enabling dodging, shielding, and strategic attacks against enemies like Stalfos skeletons. Different attacks like sword spins and lunges are also mentioned. The text then highlights the Goma boss battle, explaining the fight involves exploiting the boss's weakness by shooting its eye with the catapult, dodging its attacks, and dealing with baby spiders. The review concludes by acknowledging the game's impact on gaming at the time, given its 3D nature, and celebrates the classic Zelda formula of pattern recognition and weakness exploitation. This guide details the controls for The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. The right shoulder button activates the shield and provides first-person view for aiming projectiles. The left button displays the map. The B button performs actions like talking, opening chests, and climbing. The C buttons are used to assign and quickly access different weapons. The Start button opens a menu to manage equipment and view stats. The 3D stick controls Link's movement, with harder pushes resulting in faster running and jumping. The Z trigger targets enemies and points out interactable objects. Finally, the A button is used for attacking, playing the ocarina, and other key actions. First-person perspective, activated by the right shoulder button, improves projectile aiming. This article from Space World 97 previews gameplay features for the upcoming Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time on the N64. Horseplay details Epona's mechanics, including mounting, steering, and speed boosts activated by the B button, limited by caret icons representing stamina. The article hints at fence jumping and horse battles, with appearances of Zelda's and Ganon's horses in the intro. The Fast Train describes the game's training mode, where Link learns moves from pretty girls in a woodland village. This guided experience culminates in Link becoming a Link Master. The screenshots showcase Link interacting with these characters, offering a glimpse into the game's early stages and the training provided. Rebranded. This article highlights the top 5 Nintendo toys from Japan, deemed superior to UK offerings. The list includes a Yoshi radio-controlled car with jumps and cones, a Donkey Kong barrel game similar to Pop-Up Pirate, Nintendo beanbags featuring Mario characters, Hanafuda playing cards, and a Super Mario 64 watch. The article also discusses Zelda, Ocarina of Time, focusing on puzzle elements like bomb planting to reveal passages and fighting a Dodongo dragon. It mentions the evolving game's upgrade plans, possibly disc or cartridge-based, and details magical movies, featuring a widescreen cutscene and time travel with Link's age change. Yoshi's Story, a vibrant and cute 2D platformer for the N64, is set to release, and early reviews from Japan are glowing. Players will collect fruit and solve puzzles, with Yoshi now gurgling instead of his classic wah wah. Baby Bowser has trapped Yoshi's Island in a picture book, and Yoshis must find the Tree of Super Happiness. The game's puzzles are described as challenging, reminiscent of Yoshi's Island on the SNES. In other news, Forsaken 64, a shoot-'em-up by Iguana, creators of Turok, is expected in January 1998. The magazine previews bounty hunters like Nubia, Foitoid, and Nutter. The game will also feature dangerous weaponized traps, such as AI-controlled turrets. This page previews upcoming N64 titles. Yoshi's Story showcases new moves like tongue-grabbing and egg blasting, with a focus on handmade visuals, precise 3D stick controls, rumble pack support, and comedic elements, including Yoshi's death. NBA Basketball, under the new Nintendo Sports label, is aiming for high-quality sports simulation with advanced features like court reflections and crowd reactions. It's slated for a July '98 release in Japan, and is currently 50% complete. Forsaken 64 features new enemies like the tank and swarm, with a mission called Stabilizers, involving a nuclear reactor and challenges, including a submarine boss. Secrets for Forsaken 64 will be revealed in the next issue. This page is all about 1080 degrees snowboarding, coming to the N64. It's part of the Space World 97 news, so this is a look at what was hot at the show. They're calling it Nintendo's Cooler Borders. Cheeky. It's banging on about how cool it is, saying if your mates are still stuck on Mario games, wait till they see this. Bit harsh on Mario there, but alright. They reckon it's more realistic than anything on the PlayStation, which was the big rival back then, obviously. Apparently, the 1080 refers to 360 spins, a proper show-off move, allegedly impossible in real life. Dramatic? In it, they talk about the characters, mentioning Dion Blaster, Akari Hayami, and Kensuke Kimachi. Sounds like a right mixed bunch. They're using the same tech as Wave Race 64 for character animation, calling it inverse kinematics. Basically, it means the characters wobble about realistically when they're losing it, which is fair enough. There's a section called Track Attack, saying the Space World demo had 3 courses, and they highlight Crystal Lake, short, as a beginner track. Apparently, it's wide and flat, good for learning, with balloons and lake views. Sounds a bit tame compared to the white-knuckle courses they were hyping at the start. Game's out in Japan, next February, apparently, on a 64 meg cart, pretty standard size for the N64. Seems like they are positioning this as a serious snowboarding sim, none of that kiddie stuff. This page highlights some of the top Japanese toys showcased at Space World 97. First, the Wave UFO, a keyring with a robotic alien that reacts to mobile phone signals, popular in the 90s. Next, Springman, a stretchy keyring figure with extendable limbs, a common backpack accessory. The Street Stomper, a small figure that beats a Coke can, provided an intense, rhythmic experience when multiple were activated. The Puyo Puyo Sun talking keyring, linked to the game, spoke odd phrases, and was a popular item. Finally, a super deformed, wind-up Spider-Man toy rounds out the selection. The page also features a competition to win these toys, requiring participants to identify the Metroid's Slinky Star. Space World 97 highlights include the unveiling of Matza Strikes Back on DD, the sequel to Super Mario RPG. This 3D RPG features a 2D Mario sprite in a 3D world, distinct from Super Mario 64, with Pocky's return. The shortcuts section covers other games. Wario Land 2 on Game Boy features new moves, including the ability to get fat and drunk. Rev Limit, a driving game, received a negative review, while Duel Heroes, a beat-em-up, suffers from poor gameplay. Bio-Tetris utilizes the memory pack to monitor heart rate, and Super Robot Spirits, an anime-style fighting game, is promising. This page is a full-page advert for F1 Pole Position 64 on the Nintendo 64. It's got a big picture of a checkered flag at the top, very dramatic. The tagline is, "In racing there is only one position," and then a massive logo for F1 Pole Position 64. Below that, there are some screenshots from the game, showing the in-car view, and some racing action. The advert text underneath the screenshots boasts about it being the most authentic Formula 1 game ever lined up on the grid. Bit of a bold claim, even back then. It says it's based on the 1996 season, and features 16 actual Grand Prix tracks, and 22 accurate racing cars, and 30 famous drivers. So they're really pushing the realism aspect. They also mention realistic spinouts, skid turns, and radio communication with the pit, all the bells and whistles they could cram in at the time for the N64. It's all capped off with the Ubisoft Entertainment logo at the bottom. So yeah, just a standard full-page ad really, trying to get you hyped for another racing game. F-Zero X, a surprise hit on the Nintendo 64, is lauded for its blistering speed and crisp graphics, a stark contrast to the fuzzy visuals of competitors like Extreme G. The game, released in June 1998, boasts impressive draw distances and a thrilling sense of speed, enhanced by features like Rumble Pack compatibility and no slowdown in multiplayer. Featuring 30 races on the grid, with a diverse cast of characters from Captain Falcon to AI types, the game offers a chaotic and competitive racing experience. A planned 64DD disc, with additional content, including new courses and a track editor, never materialized. The reviewer praises F-Zero X as a fun, fast-paced racing game, highlighting its key strengths. This page highlights tracks from F-Zero X, Mute City with its dizzying loops, Silence for extreme speeds, Sand Ocean's tricky tubes, Port Town's narrow lanes, Big Blue's seaside pipe track, and Devil's Forest with its risky speed boosts. The article also showcases the top 5 Japanese gaming magazines. Weekly Famitsu, a massive publication, and the 64 Dream, focusing on the N64, are highlighted. Also, Nintendo 64 Mag provides similar coverage, Login offers a PC perspective with insights into the Japanese market, and Get Dream features beautiful girls. A competition offers a chance to win these magazines by correctly identifying the Game Boy's creator. In this interview, Shigeru Miyamoto discusses his involvement with Spaceworld games, highlighting Zelda as his biggest project alongside Yoshi's Story, 1080° snowboarding, and F-Zero X. He also reveals his work on the 64DD, Nintendo's upcoming 64MB disk drive. Miyamoto then discusses his favorite Nintendo titles, including the Mario Artist series and the Capture Cassette, which allowed players to insert their faces into games, showcasing early motion capture technology. He also mentions Hudson's Yuchen Nanchan's Fire Challengers, and praises Rare for its high-quality games. Finally, Miyamoto elaborates on the 64Dead's writable discs, emphasizing their potential for content updates, nurturing style games, and trading creations with friends, such as Mario Artist images and SimCity/Simcopter crossovers. This page previews upcoming Nintendo 64 developments. Jungle Emperor Leo, a game based on the Kimba the White Lion cartoon, is in development with Shigeru Miyamoto's involvement. The page also features a quick fix section highlighting collaborations with Psygnosis and Core Design, plans for motion capture in Mario Artist, and details about the 64DD, including downloadable content and updates. F-Zero X will get an F-Zero DD version with new tracks and a track editor. A voice recognition system is also in development, possibly for use with a Pikachu game. Miyamoto shares insights into F-Zero X with tougher AI, and Legend of Zelda 64, featuring more bosses. He acknowledges the limited game selection but promises more quality titles soon. This page is all about Pocket Monsters Stadium, which you might know better as Pokemon Stadium. This is proper late 90s stuff. From Spaceworld 97 feels like a lifetime ago now. They're calling it a 3D strategy game, and it's coming on the 64DD, which was Nintendo's disk drive add-on, remember that? The big selling point seems to be the Game Boy link-up. According to them, your trusty old Game Boy is suddenly vital for the N64's future. Bit dramatic, eh? Apparently you'll use a 64GB pack adapter. Now that sounds like a typo even back then, must have meant 64MB or something, to bring your Pokemon from the Game Boy games into Stadium. They're promising loads of Game Boy games will be compatible eventually. The page is showing off these polygonal 3D battles, got Charizard and Blastoise facing off. They've got these little turn-by-turn breakdowns, Player 1's Charizard breathing fire, and Player 2's Blastoise retaliating with hydro pumps. They're really highlighting the graphics, saying it recreates your chosen beast in full polygonal splendor. Bit over the top, but I suppose seeing your little Game Boy sprites in 3D was pretty impressive back then. Definitely a clever way to get us all excited about the 64DD and linking up our old handhelds. This article previews the upcoming Pokemon game, describing it as a blend of RPG, virtual pet, and card game elements. Players, as young heroes, capture and care for Pokemon, similar to Tamagotchis. Battles are central, with players able to challenge others via link cables. The article highlights the multiplayer aspect, allowing up to 4 players to connect using the 64GB pack and Game Boy carts. Key features mentioned include improved animation, music, Game Boy compatibility, and a focus on sharp graphics. The 64D add-on is discussed, promising a larger roster of 3D Pokemon viewable in a picture gallery, with the potential to create your own. The article includes screenshots of Eevee and Meowth in 3D. A UK campaign urges readers to demand the game's release in the UK by completing a form and sending it to Nintendo. This highlights the uncertain release landscape of the time and the need to express interest in bringing Pokemon to the UK market. This article previews Pokemon Snap, originally planned for the 64DD. The game, then called Pocket Monsters Snap, puts players in a safari park setting where they photograph Pokemon, judging them on speed, size, and pose. Players can interact with the creatures using items like apples to capture better shots, with some Pokémon hidden in difficult-to-find locations. The preview highlights gameplay screenshots, showcasing 3D environments and Pokémon like Squirtle and Ekans. You can use items to lure out the creatures and get the perfect picture. Photos are developed in a darkroom and showcased in a monster album. The 64-DAD's unique feature allowed players to save and swap pictures with friends. The article concludes by calling the game original and highlighting its large number of unique creatures and picture-swapping capabilities. It suggests Snap offers a new way to experience 3D Pokémon visuals. John. This page is a full-page advert for Extreme G on the Nintendo 64. Blimey, look at that fella's face. Pulled back by the sheer speed, they really went all out with that image, didn't they? The tagline is, acceleration so fast it hurts. So why do it? Extreme G. Right then, makes it pretty clear what they are going for: pure speed. Down at the bottom you've got the Extreme G logo, and the Acclaim and Probe logos, so you know who's behind it. It says take it to the extreme, Acclaim's slogan back then. And in the small print, it's dated 1997, so yeah. Bang in the N64 era. Fastest game on Earth, according to Nintendo magazine. Well, they always hyped things up back then, didn't they? It's an advert pushing the speed of the game, nothing too subtle about it. Pikachu Genki Dechu, a Nintendo 64 title, allows players to interact with Pikachu using a sound recognition system and microphone. The game, showcased at Space World 97, aims for a conversational experience. Details are sketchy regarding gameplay, though combat is hinted at. The game features 8 scenarios: Pikachu sleeping, being startled, getting angry, becoming upset, ignoring apologies, enjoying an apple, forgiving the player, and showing affection. The game comes bundled with the necessary technology and is slated for a late 1998 release in Japan. The buzz around Pokémon is huge, especially in Japan. The article highlights the top 5 Nintendo Pokémon toys. First is the Pocket Monsters GB game, essential for starting the craze. Next, Pikachu Records provides kid-friendly content. Then, there's a practical Pikachu beanbag and origami monsters, surprisingly popular. Lastly, the Pocket Monster playing cards are a hit. Worry! The article also details the Pikachu Genki Dechu game, where players use a microphone to interact with Pikachu, a charming but unusual experience. Nintendo's innovation with this game, and the emotional reactions of Japanese children at Space World, impressed the writer. The game demonstrates Nintendo's commitment to gamers and its inventive spirit. Mario Artist for the Nintendo 64 DD promised to transform your TV into a digital art studio with 3 programs: Talent Maker, Polygon Maker, and Picture Maker. The setup involved connecting a video camera and recorder via a capture cassette to capture video and images. Users could record their artwork to videotape or import images into the 64 DDD. While the standard N64 controller was supported, the mouse was heavily recommended for drawing. The software came on discs compatible with the 64 DD. Miyamoto reportedly devoted significant time to Mario Artist. The product aimed to expand the console's appeal beyond gameplay, tapping into the creativity trends sparked by Pokémon. Talent Maker, a 64DD creation package, allows users to design 3D dancing dolls. Players can customize character appearances, including facial features and body shapes. Notably, the software supports using a video camera to project real faces onto the digital characters. The software also includes sample characters and animations. Creations can be integrated into an obstacle course game. The article highlights the creative aspects of the software, emphasizing learning computer design and having fun. The article also features 5 crap Japanese toys: Cuddly Poo, a poo-shaped toy; Buska, an orange character; Ultraman Shampoo, Pencil Dog, a pencil sharpener, and a toad keyring with a suggestive design. A competition is announced. To win the toys, contestants must identify the developers of Diddy Kong Racing. Picture Maker, a 64DD software, focuses on 2D drawing tools like crayons and paints, similar to existing digital art programs. It allows users to draw and offers a video paint feature for manipulating video images captured via a camera or VCR. Simple animations can be created through frame-by-frame drawing. A 3D movie mode allows for 3D model creation, although the examples provided were somewhat odd. Users can also incorporate video faces into images, like placing a face onto a Mario Kart character. Miyamoto praises the software as fun and representative of the Mario Artist series. The software emphasizes intuitive drawing tools and the ability to use Nintendo imagery. Polygon Maker, part of the Mario Artist series for the 64DD, allows users to create and animate 3D models, including characters like Mario. It's a simplified version of professional game design tools, enabling players to experiment with 3D shapes and colors. A step-by-step guide demonstrates how to create a basic plane model, starting with simple shapes, and then modifying them. The software emphasizes integration with other Mario Artist programs. Users can use Picture Maker for 2D art and Talent Maker to apply those images to 3D models created in Polygon Maker. The 64DD's save boxes facilitate easy transfer of assets between the programs. While primitive by modern standards, this interconnectedness was innovative for consoles at the time. The Pocket Camera, released in February 1998, was a surprise addition for the Game Boy. This cartridge allowed players to take black and white photos displayed on the Game Boy screen. Users could save and edit photos using features like color inversion, inverse, pasting images, and even drawing. A pocket printer provided physical copies via thermal printing, though the quality was low resolution. Photos could also be shared with other Game Boys using a link cable. The article highlights various editing options, including mix and match for combining faces. While not as advanced as Picture Maker, the Pocket Camera offered a fun, quirky experience for Game Boy owners, allowing for creative photo manipulation. This page celebrates the Game Boy Pocket Camera, a black and white snapshot device with built-in editing features like adding silly effects. It also references print club machines, popular in Japan, which inspired the camera's concepts. The camera's different colors are also highlighted. The article then lists the top 5 Nintendo seeds. Super Mario 64 takes the top spot, praised for its iconic tunes like Bob-O-M-B Battlefield. Following are Star Fox 64, Ryoko Hirasu, despite not being a Nintendo CD, Wave Race 64, and finally, another Ryoko Hirasu album. The article ends with a giveaway of these cards, requiring participants to send a postcard. This page is all about the Twix Junior Games Player of the Year competition, a right proper event it was back in '97. Looks like young Paul Bowman from High Wycombe took home the gold cup for his Mario Kart skills. Good on him, showing those other young whippersnappers how it's done. The final showdown was at the Virgin Megastore in London. Must have been a bit of a spectacle. Apparently he kept his cool despite an adoring audience, bless him. They reckon he was trying for a Guinness World Record for the Nintendo 64 as well. Whether he got it or not, he still walked away with a grand's worth of games, vouchers for Virgin Megastore, which was the place to be back then, mind you, a Meek Warrior 2 jacket, and enough Twix bars to keep him going for a year. A year's supply of chocolate, that's the real prize, isn't it? It mentions hundreds entered, but only 8 made the final, including Paul, so fair play to all of them who gave it a go. Seems like it was a decent bit of fun for the Nintendo magazine readers. This page is diving headfirst into the world of 64DD, Nintendo's disk drive add-on, remember that, eh? They're teasing us with Mother 3, or Earthbound as we know it here, saying it's going to be even bigger than Zelda 64. Bold claims, as if anything could top Zelda back then. It's being touted as a 3D RPG, which was quite the thing at the time. They're even showing off this bonkers idea of pasting your own face onto the characters using their Picture Maker gizmo. Imagine an army of your mates running around in Mother 3. Bit weird if you ask me. Looks like there will be some oddball locations, even a Wild West area, and some proper strange looking enemies, if those screenshots are anything to go by. Rue. Then they're on to SimCity for the 64DD. Apparently, it's a completely different beast from the SNES version, fully 3D cities and all that jazz. They're talking about jumping into cars and even flying helicopters. Proper ambitious stuff for a city builder back then. Miyamoto himself even chips in saying you can use Simcopter to fight fires in your SimCity creations. Sounds like a bit of a crossover event, doesn't it? Both Mother 3 and SimCity are listed as TBA and N/A DD disc, so typical of Nintendo, always keeping us hanging on for more info. Still, 64D was meant to be the future, wasn't it? Shame it never really took off like they hoped. The Space World Gallery showcased several games. Banjo-Kazooie, releasing in Japan in April 1998, impressed with its new levels and humorous intro. Miyamoto discussed Cabbage, a virtual pet project for the 64DD and Game Boy. Players would download content for their pet to a Game Boy cartridge. The pet would evolve, even when not in use, with additional content available on 64DD discs. SimCity 2000 for the N64, due in December 1997 in Japan, was also previewed. It promised subgames like horse betting, space battles and dates. The though specifics were limited. This page previews upcoming N64 games and Japanese suites. First, Tamagotchi World, a board game featuring virtual pets and Mario, is due in Japan in December '97. Snowspeeder, a snowboarding game with realistic effects and two-player mode, and Detective 64, a murder mystery board game, are scheduled for March '98. Fighting Cup, a beat-em-up with new moves, is also improving. Famistar 64, a baseball game, is coming in November '97, with the potential for more Namco titles. Uchan Nanchan's Fire Challengers, a wire loop game, is due in December '98. The article also highlights Nintendo-themed suites available in Japanese supermarkets, including Bomberman Smarties, Tamagotchi Tubes, Pokémon Lollies, Puyo Puyo Sunchews, and Doraemon Hearts. The Big Blag is running competitions. Prizes include N64 accessories, steering wheel, etc., with the question being about Shigeru Miyamoto's virtual pet project. There's also a Home Alone 3 giveaway, with a question about the original film's star, Macaulay Culkin. Alien Resurrection is featured, with a question about the heroine, Ripley. Madden Football 64 is giving away copies, with a question on John Madden's first name. Finally, FIFA Road to World Cup '98 offers copies and Le Sports jackets, asking where the World Cup finals were held. France. Overall, it's a page of contests with various prizes. This Nintendo 64 playlist features reviews alongside a humorous section where the staff are portrayed as sports figures. Super Mario 64 receives high praise despite replay value concerns. Turok is compared to Quake but criticized for motion sickness. Other reviewed games include Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire, Pilotwings 64, Wave Race 64, ISS 64, FIFA 64, Killer Instinct Gold, Mario Kart 64, MK Trilogy, Blast Corps, Doom 64, MRC, Hexen, Duke Nukem 64, Lilat Wars, and F1 Pole Position 64, with scores and brief criticisms detailed. The magazine also outlines a new rating system and presents its November/December 1997 office chart, with GoldenEye 007 topping the list. FIFA Road to World Cup '98 on the N64 is a vast improvement over its predecessor, FIFA 64, which was considered a disappointment. The review praises the enhanced gameplay, presentation, and graphics, noting the responsive controls and improved goal celebrations. The reviewer is impressed, stating they've fallen in love with it after years of dodgy playability on other consoles. The game supports up to 4 players, offers 4-player matches, and requires a 64 meg cart with battery backup. Developed by EA, it was priced at £59.99, with a December release. The review concludes with positive sentiment, suggesting FIFA 98 is finally a proper football game for the N64, and a welcome improvement over the earlier releases. FIFA Road to World Cup '98 on the N64 offers a deep and realistic football experience. The main Road to the World Cup mode allows players to select from 172 international teams and compete in qualifiers to reach the 1998 World Cup in France. EA boasts improved AI, motion-captured animations, and detailed graphics, including accurate stadium recreations and dynamic lighting. Gameplay modes include friendly matches, league play, training, and penalty shootouts. The review highlights accessible passing, wing play, smarter goalkeepers, and satisfying tackles. Scoring requires a close-range approach. Overall, the game is praised for its realism and depth, representing a significant step up from previous FIFA titles. This review of FIFA Road to World Cup '98 for the N64 delves into its gameplay mechanics. Time to Take Control highlights the shot targeting system, allowing players to aim shots and progress to advanced techniques like volleys and headers, suggesting a high skill ceiling. The I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles section praises the authentic commentary from Dace Lynam, John Motson and Andy Gray, along with realistic crowd reactions and the inclusion of Blur's Song 2 to enhance the game's atmosphere. X-Foul Sequence X discusses the consequences of fouls, with referees penalizing reckless tackles and potentially leading to player ejections, aiming for a more realistic and complete football experience. This FIFA guide reviews camera angles, from the classic telecam to the tactical tower cam, highlighting their pros and cons, complete with retro screenshots. The text then moves to League mode, discussing team management and player transfers. While you can navigate the transfer market, securing top players like Shearer won't be cheap. It also touches on releasing unwanted players for cash. Next, It details player skill editing, allowing users to adjust player stats. The guide points out perceived inaccuracies, like a high shooting rating for Teddy Sheringham, suggesting the option to essentially cheat and create an unbeatable team. The text concludes with a bit of football humor, like a high shootin'. FIFA 64's Trick Up Your Sleeve section highlights new in-game skills. Players can dive with double taps, feint with top R, execute overhead flicks with bottom C, do ball through legs with the trigger, and perform first-time shots. The game also allows bicycle kicks and headers. The review praises the game's improved rules and refereeing. It concludes with a massive improvement over previous N64 football games, with graphics rated 93%, sound at 89%, playability at 90%, and lastability at 89%, resulting in a 90% overall score. The review calls it the best FIFA game ever, citing its strong graphics, decent sound, and addictive gameplay. It's the game everyone was waiting for. Gammond. This page is an advert for Virgin Megastores, flogging Nintendo 64 gear back in the day. It's got that classic 90s vibe going on, with the immaculate selection tagline above these slightly odd portraits of people who were probably cool at the time. They're pushing the Nintendo 64 pack itself for £99.99, which wasn't cheap, but you were getting the console after all. Then there's a shout for a free £5 voucher if you spent £50, which is alright I suppose, every little helps. Down below they're highlighting games, specifically GoldenEye 007 and Diddy Kong Racing, both at £49.99 each. GoldenEye, of course everyone knows about that one. The multiplayer was legendary, even if the single player was a bit linear compared to what came later. Diddy Kong Racing was decent kart racer, trying to take on Mario Kart 64, which was a tall order, but it had planes and hovercrafts, which was a bit different. So yeah, Virgin Megastores, trying to get you to part with your cash for some N64 goodies. Standard stuff really. This review focuses on the N64 racing game, San Francisco Rush. It emphasizes the arcade feel, promising open roads and high speeds, though acknowledges the limitations of the graphics. The reviewer highlights the game's appeal to speed freaks, comparing it to other racers of the time. Screenshots showcase the fast-paced gameplay, with speedometers hitting impressive, for the era numbers. The review also includes game details like the title, San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing, publisher, GT Interactive, price, £59.99, release date, December, and technical specs such as the 64 meg cart size and battery backup. The review concludes with a quirky question about flying, reflecting the game's over-the-top style. San Francisco Rush features 4 car classes: Beginner, VW Campervan, Advanced, Dodge Viper, Expert, VW Beetle, and Extreme, Lamborghini. The Campervan is slow, while the Lamborghini offers top speed at the cost of crash vulnerability. The game's tracks are based on San Francisco landmarks, including the Golden Gate Bridge and Twin Peaks. Players can race forward or backward on these tracks. Screenshots indicate basic N64 graphics. The tracks are presented with a map showing their real-world San Francisco locations. San Francisco Rush for the N64 offers unlockable cars via hidden shortcuts and off-road routes, making the exploration of each track rewarding. The game features a car damage system with adjustable settings, including a death setting that results in spectacular crashes. While the graphics are praised, the review, by Tim Street, ultimately criticizes the game's execution. Despite decent visuals and a variety of cars, the handling is slow, and the track design is poor, resulting in frequent crashes. The review highlights sharp corners and a lack of overall excitement. The review's scores reflect these issues. Graphics, 88%, sound, 78%, playability, 76%, and lastability, 75%, leading to a 74% overall score. The final verdict is harsh, recommending players avoid San Francisco Rush and instead choose Top Gear Rally. The next page is a rather bizarre full-page advert for Twix. Seems like they are pushing a break from the norm tagline pretty hard here. It's got this bloke upside down, completely wrapped up in Twix bars, like some kind of confectionery mummy, with the tagline plastered all over. The text above him reads, "Shouldn't have asked him to play the Bee Gees, thought Norm." Right next to it, there's a smaller picture of a young lad looking a bit miserable playing a guitar in his bedroom, complete with the classic 90s student digs vibe. It's all a bit strange, but I suppose it gets your attention. It's basically saying Twix are a break from the usual, the norm. See what they did there? Bit odd, bit out there, but that was advertising back then, I suppose. Bomberman 64, a 3D update for the N64, promised explosive action. The review praises its transition to 3D, moving beyond the formulaic maze gameplay of older installments. New features include roaming enemies, a story involving an Omnicube and Altair, and platform-style arenas with puzzles. The game introduces Sirius, a character of unknown allegiances, adding suspense. The review highlights the game's 3D levels, though they appear basic by modern standards. It notes the simplicity of the one-button bomb mechanic. Published by Nintendo and released in November, the game cost £54.99. Featuring puzzle gameplay for up to 4 players, it utilized a 64 meg cart, offered battery backup, and required no memory park. The review suggests it was a solid Bomberman update for its time. Bomberman 64 departs from its maze-based origins with several key changes. Bombs now explode in circles, the 3D stick allows for recovery from stuns, and the camera utilizes the C buttons. The game features a world-based structure, with Green Garden being the first showcased. Green Garden has exploration stages and boss battles, with Sirius guiding the player. Stages involve finding gems, traversing ice levels, and fighting bosses like Draco, a flying dragon. The game initially offers 4 accessible worlds, with a 5th unlocking later. The article from the official UK Nintendo magazine also highlights escalating difficulty, with later bosses, and a visual style typical of N64 3D platformers. This review of Bomberman 64 critiques its transition to 3D. The game introduces new skills and power-ups, including bomb upgrades and various effects, visually presented in a blocky style typical of the N64 era. The single-player adventure mode is considered decent, but the reviewer feels the game falters in its multiplayer experience. It lacks the chaotic charm of classic Bomberman, with less emphasis on close-quarters combat and hidden areas. Ultimately, the review suggests the game is more of a technical showcase than a true Bomberman experience, leading to a feeling of disappointment. While the graphics and playability score well, the overall score is 80%, indicating a mixed reception, and concluding with a plea to return to the series' roots. This page is a blast from the past. It's a full-page advert for Special Reserve. Anyone remember them? They were a mail-order place doing discount games and consoles back in the day. This is like a time capsule. It's shouting, "Then 64 price crash" in massive letters, with the console down to £99.99, and they'll even knock another tenner off if you buy something else. They're pushing the N64 Fire Pack too, which was the console with a few extras thrown in. Game-wise, they've got a fair whack of N64 titles listed. All the usual suspects are there: Mario 64, Doom 64, GoldenEye, the games everyone wanted back then. You even spot some titles like Blastcore and Clay Fighter 63 and a third, some real deep cuts for the hardcore N64 fan. And it's not just N64, they've got a load of SNES games too: Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, proper classics for those still rocking the 16-bit. They're even flogging Pocket Game Boys, PlayStations, and bizarrely, TVS and PCS as well. Bit of everything going on. They're doing annual membership for £6, get magazines, and a cheap book. Remember those? All for £6. And get this, they're even offering pay later if you spend over £250. Those were the days. Proper 90s gaming advert. This takes you right back. This cheat sheet focuses on N64 classics. Diddy Kong Racing secrets include unlocking future Funland and Drumstick, and a few basic cheat codes. Top Gear Rally tips highlight unlocking the Strip Mine track by winning the 6th season. San Francisco Rush features Pappyland, a secret stunt track accessible by going off-road on track 6. The guide offers standard, but useful tips for these games, especially before the widespread availability of internet-based information. This page is pure gold for cheat hunters. It's a proper old-school tips center page focusing on a few N64 bangers. First up we've got Mace, The Dark Age. Remember that one? Proper dark and gritty fighting game, bit of a Mortal Kombat vibe. They're talking about fluffy bunny slippers for the characters, which is just brilliant silliness. There's also a code to swap character heads, which sounds properly bizarre. Then there's a real thumb workout to unlock Ichiro and Warmech anti-clockwise circles. That's dedication, that is. And a couple of others hidden away too: Pojo, Janitor Ned and Grendel, all requiring holding start on specific characters. Proper hidden gems back then. Counter. Then we move on to Clay Fighter 63 and a third. Now that was a funny game, wasn't it? All claymation and daft characters. They've got codes to play as Dr. Kiln, Sumo Santa and Boogerman. What a roster! Plus a stage select cheat, which is always handy for showing off to your mates. Finally, there's F1 Pole Position 64. A bit more serious this one, but still some secret stuff to find. They're giving away the secret to unlock a hidden car. Finish the game, become world champ, save it, restart, and then press A and B while it loads. Proper old school secret, having to wait for the reload and all that, those were the days. All checked by Nintendo, according to the bottom, so you know it's legit. Good times. This page offers cheat codes for classic games. For Alien vs Predator, SNES, a complex button combination on the options screen unlocks stage select. Madden Football 64, Warring 64, features a way to unlock the Tiburon team by creating a player named Tiburon and playing in season mode. Finally, Extreme G, N64, has multiple cheats. Unlimited turbos, Nitroid, Extreme Speed, Extreme, Slippery Track, Banana, the Roach Bike, the Neon Bike, and Mad Max mode. Password 81GGD5, unlocking all content. All cheats are supposedly verified by Nintendo. This Tips Center page highlights cheat codes for classic games. For GoldenEye 007 on N64, beating the dam level quickly unlocks paintball mode, with more time-based unlocks available on other levels, culminating in all guns for Egyptian. Kirby's Pinball Land on Game Boy offers unlimited lives, with a menu screen button combination, right, select, B, confirmed by a visual cue. Donkey Kong Country on SNES provides unlimited lives through a complex process on the first level, rewarding players with a 1-up bonus area. Finally, Batman Forever on SNES features a stage select cheat, Key L up, LLABY, available in the options screen. This Hot Help section, featuring Wario as a mascot, offers gaming advice in a magazine-style format. First, it tackles RPG questions, assisting Mark Penman with Rock's Feather in Zelda, Link's Awakening and Philip Carpenter with a Dark World chest in Zelda, A Link to the Past. The section then dives into beat-em-ups, providing Mortal Kombat special moves for the Super NES, including Kano's Roll Spin, Johnny Cage's Green Fireball, Raiden's Lightning Bolt, Sub-Zero's Freeze, and Liu Kang's Fireball. Lastly, Varshaw Williams requests Street Fighter II Turbo cheats, but the answer is a firm no, highlighting the section's official Nintendo-approved information. This Hot Help page offers game tips. A Super Mario 64 player needs help with Jolly Roger Bay's Jetstream, solved by using the green cap to access the metal cap course. Another player struggles with the blue Vanish cap course, advised to jump skillfully on the seesaw platforms. Dow Blast Core tips include blowing up fuel tanks in Oyster Harbor. Super U-Type on SNES has a level select code using Start, Select, and R. Finally, NBA Jam Tournament Edition reveals secret characters unlocked by entering initials and pressing specific buttons, with a list including celebrities like Larry Bird and Bill Clinton. The page concludes with a call for questions to Moonbase Nintendo, reminiscing about hotline game tips. This page features a bit of a win with Wario section up top with that cheeky Wario face staring out. Looks like they're reviewing Top Gear Rally for the N64. Remember that one? It was a proper racer back in the day, not like some of the arcade rubbish. The review bangs on about it being a tough race, and reckons it's a top traditional car racer, even better than San Francisco Rush, which was pretty decent on the arcades if you ask me, though a bit bonkers physics-wise. They're saying Top Gear Rally is more realistic and addictive, proper head and shoulders above the competition. The reviewer seems well impressed, reckons he's taken it apart. Then there's a box about game modes, explaining time attack for the lonely racers wanting to beat their best times, and arcade mode for 1 or 2 players with checkpoints. They've even put in little screenshots of the game menus for each mode. Bit of a laugh at the arcade mode description, talking about losers in a lounge eating egg and beans, while winners are sipping champagne and fondling girlies. Bit much for Nintendo magazine, eh? Anyway, seems like a solid review for Top Gear Rally, makes you think about dusting off the old N64, doesn't it? This guide focuses on gameplay tips for Top Gear Rally. It begins with basic practice advice and details the championship mode, outlining season structures with weather variations: sunny, foggy, rainy, snowy. Players earn points to advance to the professional stage and unlock a hidden car and track upon winning. The guide also covers customization options in the paint shop and emphasizes power sliding as a key technique, explaining how to initiate and correct drifts. It provides advice on braking, especially on challenging tracks, and explains the ranking system. The weather conditions section describes how each affects racing. Finally, it recommends 2 cars for the first season: the fast Lancia Delta and the more stable Ford Escort Cosworth. Overall, the guide offers a comprehensive introduction to the game's mechanics and strategies. This guide for Win with Wario on the beach track offers 12 tips. It highlights shortcuts through arches and fences and using cliffs strategically. Beginners should take the right fork at the start and slow down for a sharp left turn. Avoiding a field shortcut near a lighthouse is advised. Off-road, hug the left wall. The guide warns of a steep dip and a tunnel jump towards the end. Additionally, it compares two cars, the Toyota Celica, ideal for beginners due to better acceleration, and the Isuzu P, faster but harder to handle, suited for experienced players. This is a helpful resource for players looking to improve their lap times on the beach course. This guide offers tips for navigating the jungle track in Top Gear Rally, highlighting key challenges and shortcuts. The track features sharp turns, muddy puddles, and off-road sections. The guide, presented with numbered points and screenshots, advises on navigating shortcuts, a rope bridge, and an island. It warns about trees, rolling over, and fiery statues. Muddy puddles and icy corners, due to snowy weather, are also mentioned. The guide concludes with a corkscrew bend leading to the finish line. The guide also compares two third-season cars, the BMW M3 and the Toyota Supra. The M3 is noted for better acceleration and lower ground clearance. The Supra is longer and less agile, especially at high speeds, when compared to the BMW. This guide offers tips for conquering the challenging desert track in Top Gear Rally. The track features narrow bends, cliff faces, and various hazards. Key points include slowing down after bridges, avoiding sideways impacts in tunnels, and navigating shortcuts, including a potentially advantageous off-road route. The guide emphasizes strategic speed control throughout the track. It warns about specific sections like a corkscrew turn marked by balloons and cautions against risky overtaking in tunnels. Finally, it compares the Ford 200 rupees and Nissan GT-IR, suggesting the Ford for its superior handling and top speed, despite the Nissan's quicker acceleration. A final shortcut offers a speed-building, straight-over speed-dropping bends. This Top Gear Rally guide focuses on the mountain track, highlighting its scenic views and tricky turns. The magazine provides a map with numbered tips. Early tips advise enjoying the environment and navigating sharp bends. Numbered tips include advice for wall slamming, straightaways, and choosing between a dirt track shortcut or staying on the main route. Further advice covers braking points, bumpy shortcuts, and warnings about dips. The guide also reveals hidden cars. The Porsche is recommended for its speed and acceleration, while the milk truck, unlocked after the first year, is surprisingly fast and handles well. This guide is approved by Nintendo, offering reliable advice for mastering the track and uncovering hidden game content. This guide focuses on mastering the strip mine track in Top Gear Rally, known for its sharp corners, jumps, and hidden shortcuts. The track features sewer tunnels with 2 levels and green slime that slows you down. A car graveyard offers a shortcut, and the final shortcut involves a Tonka toy. The guide also highlights 2 hidden cars, the helmet car which handles well, and the Cupra car which is slippery and best suited for dry conditions. Overall, the track guide emphasizes the game's fun and challenging nature, especially for a game of this vintage. This Top Gear Rally guide focuses on car modifications and track tips. For transmission, automatic is beginner-friendly, while manual offers more control. Suspension should be adjusted based on the track surface, softer for bumpy terrains, harder for smooth ones. Tire choice also depends on the track. Grippy tires are best for most races, while slippery tires are ideal for drifting. Steering types range from easy-to-control Type 1 to more responsive but challenging Type 3. The guide also offers track-specific advice, highlighting jump spots, shortcuts, and scenic locations. Furthermore, it includes info about the beach ball car, a hidden vehicle with surprisingly good acceleration, though the view is obstructed, recommending an inside-the-car perspective. The guide covers both car setup and track strategies. Worry. This page is all about Extreme G, a proper fast-paced futuristic racer on the N64. Not for the faint-hearted, apparently. They are not wrong there. It's billed as a player's guide, part 1 no less. The page starts by saying it's a bouquet of posies and a sparkling plaque for the fastest computer game ever. Bit over the top, but it was exciting at the time. They reckon if you suffer from motion sickness to head to the mental asylum. Classic 90s humor. It's giving you a breakdown of the multiplayer modes, which were always a laugh back then. There's head-to-head, which is your standard race mode, then flag game, which sounds like capture the flag with weapons, and Battle Arena, which is a last man standing mode in an arena full of weapon pickups. There's a screenshot of the multiplayer menu showing these options. It claims these modes are more than just normal versus mode, which is fair enough. It was trying to be a bit different. Overall, the tone is pretty hyped up for Extreme G, which was a decent game, very fast and futuristic if a bit mental. It's setting the scene for a proper guide, promising to have taken the game apart, so there's more to come it seems in part 2. Good times. This guide to Extreme G's single-player mode offers tips for new players. Practice mode allows track familiarization, while time trials focus on speed. Shoot 'em up adds weapons to the time trial formula. Extreme contest mode offers tiered difficulty. Atomic, easy, 4 tracks. Critical mass, medium, 8 tracks. And meltdown, hard, 12 tracks, with a set track order for each. General tips cover basic racing strategies. Win early races, choose a suitable bike, use mines strategically, employ rear-firing missiles aggressively, and utilize catch-up weapons. Other tips include saving nitro for the final lap, mastering speed starts, grabbing shield icons, avoiding special weapon use while turning, and learning shortcuts. Other tactics advise using fixed weapons near lap markers, using nitro curtains, mastering slides, and utilizing weapons cleverly. The guide advises against mortars, and suggests saving unused nitro for bonus points. Overall, it provides standard yet helpful advice for navigating the futuristic racing world of Extreme G. This guide focuses on winning with Wario on Extreme G's Desert 1 track. It highlights key points, emphasizing the track's sharp turns through ancient ruins and caves. Numbered checkpoints offer tips, navigating a junction, managing tight turns, utilizing nitro curtains, and avoiding a bottomless pit. The guide also evaluates bike performance, specifically for the Khan. It recommends the Khan for its balanced stats, including good acceleration, speed, turning and shield, and mentions its Excel cannon weapon. The guide provides basic explanations of these stats, making it useful for newcomers struggling with the track. This excerpt from the Extreme G Player's Guide focuses on Desert 2, a challenging track known for its narrow sections and potential hazards. The guide provides a numbered breakdown of the track layout, highlighting key features like bumps, a massive dip, a fork in the road, a nitro curtain on the right path, and a shorter but safer left route. The guide also details weapon profiles, ranking the pulse cannon, weakest, laser cannon, decent damage and rate of fire, and the Excel cannon, high damage and rate of fire. Finally, the guide reviews the Raise bike, emphasizing its high top speed, poor acceleration, and light handling. Despite its weaknesses, its fixed laser cannon makes it a viable option, especially for sharp turns, suggesting different bikes suit different playstyles. Desert 3, in Extreme G, a continuation of Desert 2, takes place in a derelict desert scrap heap. The track features spaceship wreckage, numerous corkscrews, and an underground section. A split path offers a faster route with a chasm jump, or a safer, slower alternative. The track then leads to a new section with another corkscrew and ramp. Bike reviews highlight Raina, Khan, and Grimace. Rana offers speed, good turning, and strong shields, with a pulse cannon. Khan boasts quickness, excellent acceleration, strong shields, and the Excel cannon, considered top tier when mastered. Grimace excels with speed, suitability for all skill levels, and a laser cannon, though slightly weaker than standard. Khan is recommended for those who can handle its challenging weapon. This page is all about Extreme G, looks like a player's guide, proper helpful, back in the day these were. It's focusing on the track called Mine 1, apparently one of the trickiest ones. They reckon it's full of long straights but loads of bends too, so you gotta be smart with your nitros and keep your eyes peeled for pickups. They've got these little numbered tips alongside screenshots of the track. Tip 1 is about starting with a long straight, obvious really. Tip 2 points out that after a straight, you're diving underground dramatic stuff for a futuristic racer, eh? Tip 3 is a bit of a strange one. Says don't get distracted by the background machinery, haha, like you'd have time to admire the scenery at these speeds. Tip 4 mentions chasms and a corkscrew section, sounds like a right roller coaster. Then at the bottom they've got bike reviews, carrying on from the last page. This time it's Muga, Jolt, and Mame. Muga is described as a heavy bike, good shields, decent handling but sluggish acceleration. They say it's a beast for arena battles, and alright for racing if you're skilled. Jolt is a lighter version of Muga, sacrifices acceleration for top speed and better turning, good all-rounder apparently, but weapon drains quick. Finally, Mame is all about acceleration and average handling. Not the fastest top speed, but nippy in corners and good weapons. Sounds like each bike is suited to different playstyles. Mine 2, a more industrial track than Mine 1, features perilous climbs, falling rocks, and tunnels with metal scaffolding. Tips include using a blue/white path for better items, avoiding the scaffolding, and navigating dangerous sections. The guide also details 3 bikes. Apollyon, a red all-rounder with a pulse cannon, excels in corners. Roach, a brown killing machine with excel cannons, requires a password or extreme contest completion. Neon, a purple bike with a laser cannon, is the ultimate machine, unlocked by beating all tracks on extreme difficulty in extreme contest. Neon is the best bike, designed for champion players. Thank you. This page in the mag gives us the lowdown on Mine 3 from Extreme G. They reckon it's the hardest track in the game, and definitely the most frustrating. Mainly because there are basically no barriers, and it's all lava everywhere. They are not wrong there, one slip up and you are toast literally. The screenshots show exactly what they mean. You're racing through volcanic tunnels, and what looks like a massive caldera, lava pits all over the place. They rightly point out that lava is on all sides, and no crash barriers means one mistake is fatal. It's definitely one of those tracks where you need to be ultra careful. Bossier. They do say though, that despite the difficulty, it can be enjoyable. Especially if you're feeling a bit cheeky and want to punt your opponents into the lava a bit naughty. But that's racing, eh? Then there's a little teaser for next month, promising more Extreme G tips, focusing on easy riding across all tracks, secrets, and how to cause maximum damage with the best pickups. Sounds like they'll be going into more depth on the game, which is good if you're really into your futuristic races. They're plugging the official Nintendo magazine for that info, naturally. This page is a nostalgic look back at the classic platformer, Earthworm Jim, focusing on its quirky humor and weirdness. The main feature is a cheat sheet for the original game, containing codes for stage select, extra lives, and ammo. The highlight is the shiny code, a more powerful cheat offering invincibility, stage select, freezability, and a map view. The shiny code is activated by pausing the game and entering a specific button sequence. However, the page cautions that this code can be glitchy, potentially trapping the player, or causing random teleportation. Despite the risks, the article embraces the fun of cheat codes in Earthworm Jim, suggesting they enhance the overall experience. TUT. This guide provides tips for Earthworm Jim, covering tricky areas. To beat Major Mucus in Snot a problem, shove him into rocks repeatedly, and dodge his spinning attacks, repeating this 3 times. In Stage 2, swing between hooks using the Jim Whip, holding left to avoid falling. Against Psychro in Andy Asteroids, stay centered, stun him with the plasma pistol, and whip him 7 times. Down the Tube has a hidden air restorer. Find it by going right after the first air refill, and look for a break in the rock. To reach the toilet warp in Stage 1, navigate a series of platforms and pulleys to the left. The guide concludes by reminiscing about the game's difficulty and quirky humor, encouraging readers to call a hotline for further help. This article highlights a retro gaming challenge centered around N64 titles. Players are encouraged to participate in 3 Premier League challenges to earn bragging rights. The challenges include a Diddy Kong Racing time trial, a GoldenEye 007 headshot competition on the surface level, and a Mace, the Dark Age high score challenge using Pojo in single-player mode. Participants submit their scores and photos for potential inclusion in the magazine. The article reminisces about the competitive spirit of classic gaming, with emphasis on iconic titles like Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, and Mace, the Dark Age. This magazine page spotlights N64 bragging rights, featuring a How High Can You Try challenge with opportunities to win a colored N64 controller. 6 challenges are presented across different games. Joyce A. In Mario 64, the goal is to collect the most coins, with Bruce Dean leading with 3,825. Lilat Wars, Star Fox 64, challenges players to reach Area 6, hit all switches, and achieve the highest kill count. Stuart Richards leads with 471 hits. Blast Corps tasks players with the fastest time on Oyster Harbor, with Tony Moraes clocking 1 minute 14.7 seconds. Additional challenges include Top Gear Rally, Strip Mine Track, F-Zero 64, Deathwind 2, and Tetris Plus, Level 20, highest score. Instructions are provided for submitting proof of scores, including photos and videos. The magazine encourages players to compete and potentially see their names in print. This page is an advert encouraging readers to subscribe to the official Nintendo magazine. It's shouting about saving £7.50 if you subscribe for 12 months, which back then was a decent chunk of change, mind you. They're listing 5 reasons to subscribe, you know the drill. 12 issues for the price of 9, delivered to your door post-free in the UK, first and best for N64 news and reviews, free tips book every month, all the usual marketing spiel. Below all the hype is a subscription order form. You fill it in, send it off with your payment to their address in Leicester, or if you're feeling modern, you can call their subscriptions hotline. Good old postal orders and checks back then, no online banking nonsense. They even take Access Visa or MasterCard, which is quite swanky. Prices are listed for UK, Air Europe, and World Air subscriptions. Standard stuff for getting your monthly Nintendo fix delivered right to your door. Source code IF1E and offer code F1K are there, probably for their own tracking purposes. And a little note about the offer closing on the 30th of January 1998, so this is definitely a blast from the past. This page is a full-page advert for Comet, flogging their new game zone. They're really pushing the Nintendo 64 with big images of Lilac Wars, GoldenEye 007, and F1 Pole Position 64, all top titles back then. Lilac Wars, or Star Fox 64 as some might know it, they're banging on about the Rumble Pack, that vibrating thing you plugged into your controller felt proper immersive at the time. GoldenEye 007, everyone was obsessed with that one for ages. 4-player split-screen deathmatches in your living room, good times. And F1 Pole Position 64, trying to be all realistic with damage and pit stops, although Gran Turismo on the PlayStation was probably giving it a run for its money. Comet is saying getting your hands on games isn't a challenge at their place, reckon they've got it all. They're also saying they stock games for PlayStation and Sega Saturn too, not just Nintendo. You can try out all 3 consoles in their game zone, compare the graphics and gameplay side by side, which was a big deal back then, especially when some consoles were clearly looking a bit ropey compared to others. They're also chatting about accessories and low prices, the usual sales pitch really. There's a phone number and website to check out your local store. Standard advert for the time, trying to get you down to Comet for your gaming fix. This review covers NFL Quarterback Club 98 for the N64, a game aimed at a British audience less familiar with American football. The reviewer notes the rivalry between Acclaim, who held the NFL license, and EA, likely with Madden. The game includes explanations of the sport's rules for newcomers. It features a historic simulation mode, standard game modes like Exhibition and Season, and simple controls. The review box categorizes it as a sports sim, with 14 players, a 64 meg cart, battery backup, and a hefty price tag. Released in January, it aimed to capitalize on post-Christmas spending. Overall, it seems like a decent, if niche, American football title for the N64. The review of NFL Quarterback Club 98 covers gameplay, focusing on pass and run plays, mirroring real-life football strategies. Passing is described as high risk, high reward, while running provides consistent gains. A time to take control section details roster management, trades, player creation, and a draft, complete with a $41 million salary cap. The game allowed for free agent signings and team building. As good as it gets, highlights the graphics, praising the 640 by 480 resolution as high-res and detailed, enhanced by motion capture. The review acknowledges the blocky polygon graphics typical of the N64 era, while still suggesting the game aimed for realism. The review comes from the official UK Nintendo magazine. NFL Quarterback Club 98 features a greatly expanded camera system with 6 viewpoints, including the standard perspective. Action Cam provides a good overview, while Creator Cam offers full camera control. Other options include the random Cowie Cam, QBC Cam for passing, the high-angle Blimp Cam, and the Sideline Cam, which is useful for passing plays but less so for running. The review praises the game's presentation, even though the gameplay isn't quite up to Madden standards. Highlights include Marv Albert's commentary, the quarterback pump fake, and replay angles. They call it a classiest title, and even mention a free guide to help newcomers. Overall, it seems the game is a strong contender, particularly with its diverse camera options. Dakar. NFL Quarterback Club 98 for N64 receives a highly positive review. The game boasts involvement from Brett Favre, with a playbook influenced by him, marketed as the Brett Pack. Praised for its graphics, which are considered superior to those on the Saturn and PlayStation, the game also features commentary from Marv Albert and solid tackling effects. Playability is lauded for its accessibility to 16-bit fans. With a good passing game, the review highlights the game's awesome playability, solid gameplay, and various modes, including playoff and season, plus multiplayer, scoring high marks across various categories, including a 91% overall rating. The review recommends the game to both football fans and casual gamers for its excellent presentation and gameplay. Madden Football 64 for the Nintendo 64 is reviewed, noting its popularity as a football game despite being aimed at a niche market. The review highlights the realistic gameplay fans have come to expect from the series. A major downside is the lack of the official NFL license, resulting in generic team names and logos, though the game retains actual player names due to the NFLPA rights. The game features standard modes, exhibition, season, and playoffs, along with multiplayer. The review details the game's specifics, including its Electronic Arts development, a release date of December 22, 1997, a price of £59.99, and 1 to 4 player support. The review also notes the inclusion of screenshots, in-game tips, and team standings, indicating a familiar Madden experience, albeit without official NFL branding. This page carries on the American football theme, breaking down the different player positions in a team: offense, defense, and special teams. It looks like it's still talking about Madden Football 64 from the looks of things, showing screenshots and giving tips. Cheshire theme. For the offense, they've got the quarterback, who is the general, apparently, handing off to the running back, who they reckon is one of the busiest players trying to run the ball, or throwing to the wide receiver, who needs to be nippy to get open and catch the ball. On defense, there are the linebackers, needing to be both agile and strong to stop the runs and cover the receivers, and then the cornerbacks and safeties whose main job is to keep an eye on those wide receivers and stop them from making big plays. Lastly, the special teams, covering the kicker, doing kickoffs, pats and field goals, and the punter, who they've hilariously called the weakest player, used on 4th down to punt the ball deep into the opponent's half. There's a section called Make That Hole, going on about how the blocking is better in the game, thanks to the N64's extra memory, letting you run around the outside and giving the quarterback more time. It even mentions tips to avoid tackles like diving and sprinting, so proper gameplay advice there, not just fluff. All in all, a decent overview for anyone trying to get their head around American football, or Madden on the N64. The review of Madden NFL 64 focuses on the quarterback position and the game's visuals. The quarterback is highlighted as the offensive leader, responsible for play calling and passing. The review notes the nuances of throwing, including touch and bullet passes. Screenshots showcase various plays featuring players like Brett Favre, Dan Marino, and Terrell Davis. The review emphasizes the gameplay through diverse camera angles, including the innovative helmet cam perspective, which offers a first-person view. While acknowledging its gimmick-like nature, the review suggests it was impressive for the time, showcasing the N64's capabilities. Overall, the review emphasizes the quarterback's role and the game's visual presentation as key features. This Madden NFL 64 review highlights gameplay and customization. Adjusting penalty sensitivity is recommended for newcomers. Players can pause to check stats and substitute. The review features Sean White, who praises the gameplay and animation despite the lack of official NFL licensing. He compares it favorably to Quarterback Club. Scores are provided. Graphics, 88, sound, 86, playability, 91, and lastability, 91, resulting in an overall score of 89%. Playability and lastability are emphasized, highlighting the game's addictiveness. While graphics are decent, the focus is on superior gameplay. GAC. This page is a full-page advert for a sports magazine called Sported. Bakagi. It's got a load of different covers splashed across it, each one shouting about a different sports personality. You've got Zola, the Chelsea legend, Tim Henman for the tennis fans, Prince Nazim for the boxing heads, Damon Hill representing Formula One, and then some basketball with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. There's even Lev Ferdinand there in his Newcastle kit, and David James, another footy fella. Seems like they're trying to cover all the bases with different sports stars, like a proper all-rounder magazine for sports fans back then. It's saying it's the flashiest sports magazine out, and only costs £1, which was pretty decent value at the time. On sale every 2 weeks, it says at the bottom, so they were pushing it out regularly to keep you hooked. It's a bit of a blast from the past seeing all these faces from back in the day. This page is a nostalgic look back at late 90s UK gaming ads, reminiscent of magazine back pages. Game shops like Entertainment X's and Ultraplay advertised N64 games like GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, and Duke Nukem 64, highlighting the competitive pricing and electronically tested quality. Skills ad promoted USA import consoles and games such as Yoshi's Story. Premier Games, a console game specialist, listed prices for games around £40, while N64 consoles themselves cost about £90. Manga's ad for anime videos, including Armageddon and Macross Plus, rounded out the page, capturing the era's growing interest in anime. The release dates confirm this page as a time capsule of the late 90s gaming scene. This review praises Donkey Kong Land 3 for Game Boy, calling it a fun platformer and one of the best. The game features Diddy, Dixie and Kiddy Kong on a quest in the Lost World with dinosaurs and ancient wonders. The review mentions 36 levels and a monkey trouble quiz to win a Game Boy. The game is described as a typical Donkey Kong adventure with collecting and jumping. The game information includes a 4 MB cart size, battery backup, and a November release at £24.99. The reviewer seems to enjoy the game and recommends it for the Game Boy. Wow. Donkey Kong Land 3 for the Game Boy is reviewed, focusing on characters, gameplay, and overall experience. Dixie and Kiddy Kong offer diverse abilities, with Dixie's agility and Kiddy's strength. The game features classic Donkey Kong elements like bonus barrels, banana coins, and collecting Kong letters. Animal buddies like Ingward and Squawks aid players. The reviewer, Tim Street, praises the game as a welcome platformer for Game Boy owners. He highlights the 36 levels and hidden bonuses. Ratings are provided for various aspects, with the game scoring highly on graphics, sound, playability, and lastability. The reviewer gives the game a whopping 92% overall score, with comments on its smart graphics, tasty sound, and top-notch playability. It's ultimately recommended as a must-have for Game Boy owners. Game Boy Gallery 2 revives classic Game & Watch games on the Game Boy, offering a nostalgic trip for players. The collection features games like Parachute, where Mario guides a boat to catch falling characters, Vermin, a mallet-wielding game against attacking eggs, and Chef, involving juggling food. However, the review highlights Tetris as the main attraction. This version, Tetris Plus, includes the original mind-bending puzzler, enhanced with new options. The review reminisces about Tetris's widespread popularity and addictive gameplay, emphasizing its continued appeal despite the retro game editions. It suggests that Tetris remains the collection's core draw, capable of hooking players once again. This page delves into a couple more games on the Game Boy. First up is Helmet, which, let's be honest, is basically Mario doing a Frogger impression dodging hammers instead of cars. Cheeky but alright. Then there's good old Donkey Kong. A proper classic, simple stuff really, rescuing the princess from that hairy ape. The page then looks back at Game Boy Gallery 2, which we touched on before, giving it a solid 90%. The reviewer, Tim Street, reckons it's a great collection of those old Game & Watch titles and praises the gameplay, especially Tetris. Naturally, it's priced at £19.99, which seems fair for 5 games in one cart back then. Moving on, there's Tetris Plus, described as a new puzzle game. Hardly new, is it? But this version takes Tetris and throws in a puzzle mode where you're clearing blocks to stop some professor chap from getting out. They're banging on about Egypt, Knossos, all very exotic for a few falling blocks. Tetris Plus gets an 88% score. Tim Street again, saying it's just as addictive as ever, especially with the puzzle mode and 2-player option. It's a bit pricier at £29.99, but he thinks it's worth the hard-earned wonga, whatever that means. Fair play, Tetris is always a winner, even with a fancy new mode. This page advertises a selection of Nintendo 64 products. The console itself is priced at £89.99 with fast delivery. Games like Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye 007, and Zelda. Ocarina of Time are featured, some with bundle deals including controllers and accessories. Various sports and racing games are also offered, with prices sometimes listed as call. Focus is placed on popular titles with bundles including accessories like Tremor and Rumble Packs. A wide array of controllers from various brands like SharkPad, SuperPads, and steering wheels are also available, alongside official colored controllers. Promotional deals, such as discounts on steering wheels with game purchases, are also highlighted. Excitement Direct, a mail-order company, offered a wide array of Nintendo products. They sold N64 accessories like Rumble Packs and the Shockwave controller, along with cheat devices like Action Replay. They had a vast selection of N64 games, including imported US titles, and a huge list of classic Super NES and Game Boy games. The Game Boy section featured colorful Game Boy pockets and accessories like magnifiers, Super NES controllers and their own action pad and sprint pad were also available. The page even included a PlayStation advertisement. Finally, they offered game swaps for N64 titles, providing a comprehensive selection for Nintendo enthusiasts. This magazine issue celebrates its 64th issue by reminiscing about the Nintendo 64. The article highlights the console's impact, recalling its significance in delivering exclusive Nintendo news and showing off a cover featuring The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. The magazine looks back on the excitement surrounding the console's 64-bit capabilities and the then-hyped 64DD add-on. Iconic games like Super Mario 64, GoldenEye 007, and International Superstar Soccer 64 are celebrated, showcasing the joy and competition these titles brought. The article also includes a top 5 N64 things list, highlighting accessories and merchandise like the control pad carry case, rumble pack, and colored controllers. The issue concludes by reflecting on the magazine's own growth over 5 years and the shared memories of the era. This page reminisces about the Nintendo 64 and its era. It begins with a whimsical look at downloading Game Boy games for the N64 and the 64DD, joking about the price and sharing with siblings. It then touches on the 64DAD's modem and the influence of Shigeru Miyamoto. The page celebrates classic N64 games, like Extreme G and Wave Race 64, highlighting their unique features, such as Wave Race's water effects. The Rumble Pack and 4-player gaming experiences are also fondly remembered. The iconic 3D stick controller is mentioned as well. Finally, the page revisits old magazine issues, noting key moments from 1992-1993, including Zelda reviews, Lemmings' popularity, and humorous anecdotes like Mario underwear, and a critical jab at the Alien 3 movie. This text touts the Nintendo 64 over the PlayStation, highlighting its advantages. Key arguments include faster gameplay due to cartridge format, no loading times, exciting exclusive games like GoldenEye 007, Super Mario 64, and Zelda 64, and promises of innovative experiences like Pilotwings 64. It criticizes the PlayStation for its CD format, inferior graphics, and games. The text also touches on nostalgic gaming memories, like the sleepless nights spent playing Mario 64 and annoying parents with constant N64 use. Finally, it reminisces about significant events in the early 90s that contributed to the hype around Nintendo, like high scores for games such as Zelda, Link's Awakening, and the early unveiling of the Project Reality console, which became the N64. This page from a gaming magazine highlights features and upcoming aspects of the Nintendo 64. It boasts the N64's processing power, promises PC ports like Quake and Doom, and discusses the console's sexy design. It also mentions the chaotic fun of Mario Kart 64's Lightning Bolt, and the innovative Mario Artist with the capture cassette. The 64DD disk drive and pocket camera compatibility are also discussed. DD capturecast. Ikastra. The page includes a top 10 N64 scores list, with Super Mario 64, GoldenEye 007, and Diddy Kong Racing topping the charts. Snippets from previous issues highlight the high praise for Donkey Kong Country on SNES, and mentions Killer Instinct and early rumors of RPGs for the N64. Overall, the page captures the excitement surrounding the N64's launch. Gusaka. The text reminisces about the Nintendo 64, emphasizing its power and the shift to cinematic gaming experiences. It highlights the console's social status, controller with 10 buttons, and the importance of memory packs. Popular games like Mario Kart 64, F-Zero X, GoldenEye 007, Turok, and Super Mario 64 are mentioned, showcasing the N64's diverse library. The text also references innovative features, like track building in F-Zero X, and the 64DD, although the latter's virtual pets are less familiar. The text also discusses the Nintendo Challenger competition, the official hotline, and cool N64 accessories. Finally, it looks back at past issues of a magazine, showcasing launch coverage and game guides for titles such as Wave Race 64, Super Mario 64, and Diddy Kong Racing. This magazine advertisement, focused on N64 gaming, highlights a mail-order supplier claiming to be Britain's biggest. The advert heavily promotes the console, offering bundles and individual systems. Popular N64 games, like Mario Kart 64 and GoldenEye, are prominently featured, alongside accessories such as memory cards and rumble packs. A section is dedicated to UK N64 game releases, showcasing a solid selection of titles. Warrant imports are also available, though less emphasized. The advertisement further offers used games, claiming a nearly new condition with a guarantee. A variety of gaming accessories are also presented, including steering wheels and the ill-fated Virtual Boy, now discounted. Finally, the ad lists essential items, such as memory cards, cheat cards, cables and cases. The inclusion of a mail-in-order form underscores the era's method of purchase, creating a comprehensive snapshot of late 90s N64 gaming. Club Mario, the Reader's Letters section, focuses on fan reactions to the Nintendo 64 price drop. Readers are enthusiastic, with one enjoying Lilac Wars, Star Fox 64, thanks to the price cut. Another defends game prices and praises the magazine's import game coverage. A third reader, tired of console wars, owns both N64 and PlayStation. The page also features a reader's drawing of Yoshi's, and a winner for finding a Mario's Cafe. The section concludes with a call for pictures of Link signs, marking a shift from Mario and Luigi Cafe submissions, and provides the address for fan mail. This magazine page features reader letters and a picture of the month. Hammer Time details a reader destroying a PlayStation controller, prompting the magazine to invite others to do the same. He must be mad, defends Super Mario 64 against a previous critic, with the magazine agreeing the game is a classic. The good old days, sees a reader complaining about the shrinking size of another column. Imposter in the Ranks reveals a stolen comic strip from Club Nintendo magazine, adapted for the N64. The picture of the month is Yoshi 007, a drawing of Yoshi as James Bond. Winners of the letter and picture receive a copy of Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. Overall, it's a fun blend of reader content and magazine humor. This issue features reader contributions and news. A reader suggests Donkey Kong Soccer 64, a soccer sim with DK characters, highlighting comical substitutions and goal celebrations. The picture of the month showcases reader art. Seal nukes him 3D. Movie Madness addresses a reader's question about FMV intros, explaining the N64's limitations compared to PlayStation's CD capacity. Whatever Next sees a reader upset over the N64 price drop, which the magazine dismisses as a competitive business move. The F.AQ section announces The Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, and Quake 64's March 1998 release, the latter delayed for multiplayer improvements. Nintendo is launching an N64 sports label. Robotech, Crystal Dream's future is uncertain. Finally, the magazine has a website, GameOnline.com. The C-Mail Letters section features reader complaints and questions. Mark S. laments Tomb Raider's absence on N64 due to a deal with Sony, fearing the console's obsolescence. The magazine dismisses his concerns, highlighting the N64's exclusive hits like GoldenEye and Zelda. Another reader is upset about rumors of Super Mario 64 on PlayStation, calling it a kick in the teeth and comparing it to a crock ripoff. The magazine responds sarcastically. A Star Wars-themed letter involves a lightsaber and clays, prompting a silly response. The section then descends into the disturbing Bits and Pieces letter, filled with violent suggestions for dealing with a Simon, which Seal strangely endorses. A Name That Game puzzle challenges readers. Finally, Seal's Most Wanted concludes the page with a list of reader hopes and resolutions. 64 Play reviews League Dynamite Soccer 64, a contender in the N64 football game arena. While International Superstar Soccer 64 is the fan favorite, and FIFA 64 is panned, Dynamite Soccer offers a unique experience based on the Japanese league. The gameplay features varied shots, including placed shots and powerful blasts, along with diving headers and volleys. Players must watch the ball's shadow for judging bounces, enhancing realism. Dynamite Soccer 64 is one of the first N64 games to feature the G-League, offering a fresh alternative to familiar European teams. The game, developed by Imagineer, supports up to 12 players with various multiplayer modes. It uses a 64 meg cart and saves progress using a memory pack. Overall, the game presents a deep dive into Japanese football, offering a novel experience for N64 players. Dynamite Soccer 64 offers various game modes: Friendly, Cup, Emperor's Cup, League, Managerial, and All-Star, East vs West League. The review praises the AI for its time, but notes graphics are dated. Gameplay emphasizes passing and strategic use of the radar. Multiplayer supports up to 4 players. While not graphically impressive, the game has neat little touches and offers quick ball control with the Z trigger. Shooting requires practice. Compared to ISS 64 and FIFA 98, it's a step below but a fun option, especially for J-League fans, with surprisingly good movement. Overall, Dynamite Soccer 64 is a decent alternative for N64 football enthusiasts seeking something beyond the established titles. This page is about League 11 97-bit for the N64. Right then, another footy game, eh? They're saying Dynamite Soccer didn't exactly set the world alight, which is putting it mildly. Wasn't exactly ISS 64, was it? But this League 11 is Hudson's attempt at a football game, and apparently they've got the official J-League license, like Nintendo Star Bomberman, which is a weird comparison, but alright. So us. It looks like they're going for a different camera angle in this one, suspended above the pitch rather than the usual behind an angled view like Dynamite Soccer. They say it pans in and out depending on where the action is. The reviewer mentions it can be a bit annoying when the camera gets too close in midfield and players are cut off screen, which doesn't sound ideal. The screenshots show typical N64 pixelated footy action, players look a bit stubby to be fair, and the pitch looks green enough. They mention Jeff United scored a goal in the screenshots, so at least goals are happening. There's a little box with game info at the bottom, sports sim, 14 players, various multiplayer modes, 64 meg cart size and out now in Japan. So import job then, cheers. They also mention face football action is the order of the day. Sounds a bit much, but we'll see. Overall, it seems like they're saying it's another option for football fans on the N64, but not blowing anyone away just yet. J-League 11 97-bit features cartoonish graphics reminiscent of Soccer Kid or World League Soccer. The game includes J-League teams and offers various modes like friendlies, leagues and cups, with options for formations, tactics and weather. While the AI is decent, the gameplay has some issues, like close camera angles and wonky ball physics. The reviewer finds the cartoon style appealing, but the graphics are basic, and scoring is too easy. The game receives a lukewarm review, being compared unfavorably to ISS 64. Puyo Puyo Sun 64 is a two-player puzzle game for the Nintendo 64, drawing comparisons to Tetris but focusing on competitive play. Players connect 4 or more colored Puyo to make them vanish and send Oyama Puyos to hinder their opponent. The game features various multiplayer modes and a 64 meg cart size. Developed by Compile, it was already released in Japan, requiring import for Western players at the time. Screenshots reveal the familiar colorful characters and falling blobs characteristic of the Puyo Puyo series, promising engaging head-to-head puzzle action. Puyo Puyo Sun 64 introduces chain reactions as crucial for damage and strategy, along with new Puyo Suns for advanced tactics. The game features Herald Puyo, which warns players of incoming Ojama Puyo attacks, varying from small to massive, impacting gameplay depth. Combo Suns add complexity, blocking the play area and requiring unique strategies to unleash stronger attacks. 19 characters are present, including the sorceress Al Naja, the disguise master Scherzo Weggy, and various quirky characters. A review by Sean White highlights the game's continued excellence despite its 16-bit origins, praising the addictive gameplay and enhanced two-player mode. He recommends it as a must-play for puzzle fans. This Nintendo 64 magazine issue highlights Yoshi's Story and Duke Nukem 64, with promises of in-depth coverage. A Diddy Kong poster promotion is also advertised. The magazine offers extensive tips and guides, focusing on Extreme Egg, alongside reviews of Fighter's Destiny and Nagano Winter Olympics 98. Previews of Aero Wings Assault and Wild Choppers are included. A brief mention is given to Mortal Kombat Mythologies. The issue's staff list and special thanks to section, acknowledging figures like Shigeru Miyamoto, are included. Finally, the usual magazine elements such as advertising, subscription information, and the iconic official UK Nintendo magazine logo are present. This page is a bit of an odd one. It's an advert for Mischief Makers, trying to be all quirky by presenting it as a release application form from some Tokyo sanitarium. It's for Marina Lightyears, who they're calling Mischief Maker as her alias. Apparently, her occupation is just unknown, and they reckon she thinks she's Professor Theo's robotic personal assistant. Bit vague in it. Under idiosyncrasies they've listed grabbing, shaking and chucking people around, and hovering about with an imaginary jetpack, which sounds about right for the gameplay. Her obsessional behavior is searching for glowing stars. Right, so she's a bit of a nutter then, if they've got her down for release from a sanitarium. The release date application was the 19th of December 97. And it was approved, thankfully, for the Nintendo 64 only, naturally. Someone called Mike Bualagu signed it off. And there's a little handwritten note saying, "We'll release her, but she really is bonkers. Yeah, that sums up the game's vibe quite well. Ha! They've got the usual icons down the side showing off the N64's power. 64-bit, fast processor, 3D graphics, stereo sound, precision control, and multiplayer. Marketing spiel. Really. Bottom of the page blurb says, frantically silly high-speed gameplay across 50 levels. It's bonkers. And then the classic, fastest, most powerful games console on Earth line for the N64. It's all very hyped up for what is essentially a side-scrolling platformer, but hey, it's the 90s, and we're all about being bonkers, apparently. This page is a full-page advert for FIFA Road to World Cup 98, but for the Game Boy of all things. There's David Beckham looking all focused, bless him, proper 90s haircut and England kit. The tagline is, only the very best will go to France next summer. Will you be one of them? Making out that playing the Game Boy version is somehow connected to the real World Cup. Bit cheeky that, but hey, it's marketing. It says, now available on Game Boy, in big letters at the bottom. There's the EA Sports and FIFA logos tucked away, and some blurb for THQ International who published it, along with their address in Epsom. So yeah, it's flogging the latest FIFA game, but the handheld version for kids on the go really.